Okay, Yannick and Oya. So hey everybody, thanks for coming out. If you're here to the week five little review session, okay, a little review video for week five. The topic of this one, of course, is verbs. We learned about the four different types of verbs in this week's class, but we really focused on uh, the two intransitive ones, okay, and that's what this review is going to be sort of focusing on, that and plurals. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here and we will get started with this little review. Okay, so I'm hoping everyone can see that well. And we're going to start. Okay, so we're going to go over kind of beginning to end some of the highlights that were really, really important with this past class. So let's get into it. Okay, so we will start by defining some of these verbs, okay? And I'm going to be kind of cueing you. This is part of the sort of review, is as we go through these in your mind, see if you can be like, oh yeah, that's this and that's that, and that's what this means, and see if you can kind of follow along with these and try and guess the answers as they come. Okay, that's part of like working through this again. Okay, so let's look at the types of verbs. So what are the four types? If you can imagine them, they have little three-letter codes for each one. Do you know the four types of verbs? We have VAI and VII, and then VTA and VTI. Those are the four types of verbs kind of paired off into two little pairs. Okay. So these ones, the VAI, VII, these are intransitive verbs. And then these guys down here, VTAs, VTIs, they are transitive verbs. Okay. So let's look at these ones here. Okay. These intransitive verbs. So what does the VAI stand for? Those three letters. The V is the easy one. Okay. Hopefully you know that this is a verb, animate, intransitive. Then this one, okay, should be a little easier now that we've gotten started. Verb, inanimate, intransitive. Okay, and if we just kind of go all the way through here, now we've got these two transitive verbs. So the VTA is, of course, verb transitive animate. And finally, verb transitive inanimate. Okay, so there are those four different types of verbs, sort of what those little initialisms stand for. Okay, now let's look at defining them a little bit. So when it comes to the intransitive verbs, the types that we're working with in this class, at least for the next good little while, there's sort of a straightforward way that I define these. So the verb is an action or state of being. Okay, because these VAIs, VIIs, remember these are actions, but they can also be states of being, like adjectives in English. Okay, so action or state of being done by who does these? Who does a VAI verb? They are done by an animate subject. Okay, that's the A in VAI is verb animate. Okay, done by an animate subject or an animate actor, if you will. And then the intransitive part, this is the tough one. Do you remember what intransitive means? It means without a specified object. Okay, that is what that means. And now what's great is I can copy paste. I can copy paste that same little definition here down. And what's the only thing that needs to change? We looked at this in class. The only thing that has to change is that it's now a VII, all right, is an action or state of being done by an inanimate object without a specified, or by an inanimate subject without a specified object. Okay. And then these guys down here, the transitive verbs, we're not really going to be using those for a while, but it's still kind of nice to know like roughly what they are. These are actions done to, not by, but to an animate object. All right. And then these ones, of course, VTIs, actions done to inanimate objects. So there you have it. Okay. These are the four types of verbs and like a pretty quick and dirty, but I think pretty effective definition of kind of what to do with them. Okay. So we're only going to be worrying about these VAIs, VIIs for now. Okay. And that's all we're going to worry about. So let's start to break these apart and figure out what's going on with them. Okay. So let's do some practice sentences, okay? We're going to do some pairs, very similar to how we did in class. That's the repetition aspect of this that helps you with learning, right? Is you have to repeat and repeat and repeat. You have to practice, right? So let's do some little pairs here, okay? And see how we make out. So I'm going to pick some random verb pairs and we'll just kind of go with it, all right? So we'll start with some kind of adjective style stuff. So how about something like this? We can have genose and genwa. Genose and genwa. Okay, this pair of verbs. Genose is, this is a VAI. Okay, genose. And it means that he or she, third person singular, is either tall or long. Okay, if it's in like a if it's something that's oriented kind of horizontally, then it's viewed as being long. Okay, and then we've got its counterpart, the VII, Ginwa, which means he, or sorry, it is tall or long. Again, depending on the orientation of that thing. Okay. So now what we can do is we can use these to make sentences, okay? And that's the whole point. So now I could make a sentence like this, okay? How about something like Jingob Ginose. Jingob Ginose. Again, as I say these, feel free to like pause, repeat after me. You can take these opportunities to try and say these words over in these little sentences, okay? Jingob Ginose. Okay. And that means the um, balsam fir, which is one of the coniferous tree species that we have here in Ontario. Okay, Jingub, balsam fir. Okay, the balsam fir is tall because, okay, and I did this because Jingub, the balsam fir, is grammatically animate. So I'm taking this animate subject and I'm saying that, he is tall. Jingub Genose, the balsam fir, he is tall. Okay, and that makes our complete sentence. The balsam fir is tall, period. Okay, complete sentence, we're good to go. And we can do the same thing down here with this VII. Okay. Um, if I wanted to again pick some other random thing and say that like the it could be like a building even, I could say something like this. Mushkikilgamik Ginwa. Mushkikilgamik Ginwa. Mushkiki is medicine. Gimig is some sort of building or structure that's usable or inhabitable that you can be inside of. So Mushkegumig is the medicine building, aka the pharmacy. Okay, so Mushkegumig Ginwa is going to be the pharmacy is tall or long, depending how it's oriented. Maybe it's like a three-story pharmacy. I'm like, whoa, Mushkegumig Ginwa. Oh, that the pharmacy's tall. Okay, or if it was oriented really, really long, you could still use Ginwa for that, and it would do the trick. Okay, so there you have it. Jingub Ginoze, Jingub Ginoze, Mashke Kyogamik Ginwa, Mashke Kyogamik Ginwa. Okay, let's continue on and do a couple more examples here. Okay, so you can start to feel comfortable. We'll do maybe one more singular example, and then I'll switch gears and we'll look at a couple plurals, and then that'll be the kind of gist of this review. Okay, because that's what we really learned and what really mattered in this class. Okay, so let's look at this. I'll do something like this. If I want to talk about a couple different subjects, like maybe I'll do something like Dewe Igun. Do we know who Dewe Igun is? Dewe Igun. Dewe Igun is the drum. The drum. And drums are animate. Okay, drums are grammatically animate. So because Dewe Igun is going to be my animate subject, I then need to choose a VAI verb to go with it. So if I want to make a sentence, in English that looked like the drum is used, the drum is used, then I need to find a VAI verb that does the trick. Okay. And, if I went in the dictionary and went looking around, I'd be looking for a VAI and I would find objichigazo, objichigazo, objichigazo. It's a VAI. He or she is used. Der Wagen objichigazo. The drum is used. And then I could do another pair here, okay? And I could say something like this. De quanjigun. De quanjigun. De quam or de quanjige is to bite things. De quanjige. He or she bites things. So the quanjigun is the thing that bites things, and that's a pair of pliers. Okay, pliers. So the quanjigun, the pliers, the quanjigun. So if I want to say in English, the pliers are used, then I need to say the quanjigun objichigade. That's the VII verb. It is used. So dewe'igan objichigazo, dewe'igan objichigazo, or dequanjigan objichigade, dequanjigan objichigade. The pliers are used. Okay, so there's another little pair. So now we're going to kind of shift gears and we are going to go into the world of plurals and learn about how to make VAI and VII verbs plural for the third person or for the object plural. Okay, so let's have a little look at these and make some plural sentences. So the rule here, I guess I'll restate the rule, okay, that on VAIs, all right, and see if you can remember this as we go, because this is important, okay, really critical to know. So on a VAI plural, okay, when I'm doing VAI plurals, vowel ending VAIs, okay, will be pluralized with luck, and consonant ending VAIs will be pluralized with og. So we have wug and og as our VAI plurals, vowel, consonant ending. Okay. And then if I go to VII plurals, all right, it's going to look pretty similar. Okay. vowel ending, well, if the animate one is wug, well, the inanimate one is one. And then same here. On the consonant ending, VIIs, if the animate one is og, well, the inanimate one, own. Okay? So there's your cheat sheet. Okay? Vowel endings are wug, consonant endings are og, and then on VIIs, vowel endings are one, consonant endings are own. Okay. So let's start to use this. Okay, let's try and apply this and make it kind of come to life in a couple examples. Okay. So I'll make some fresh examples here. So if I want to do something like this, maybe we'll use some berries for fun. Okay. So if I want to say something like the blackberries taste good, and then I want to say the strawberries taste good. We'll start by making the sentence singular and then we'll switch to plural. Okay, so you can see like what happens. So we'll start with the blackberry, the single word, the singular version. Okay, so the blackberry is dat gogmin. If you're looking for it in like the People's Dictionary, it'll be like o da tagagomin, o da tagagomin, o da tagagomin, o da tagagomin. However, in your community, these short vowels are syncopated and you get Dutgogman. It sounds almost the same. It's just this is how you'll see it. Okay. Dutgogman. And then I want to say that I need to know that blackberries are what gender? Animate. Okay. Blackberries are animate. So I need to pick what type of verb? VAI. Okay. And that VAI is mino. Goze. Okay, this is another verb that's heavily syncopated in your neighborhood. Okay, so minopogoze, minopogoze, minopogoze. You might see in your neighborhood as minopgoze, syncopated right down like that. Okay, so that's how I'll write it. Now, that gogmin, minopgoze. The blackberry tastes good. Let's do the inanimate one, then we'll do all of our plurals. So the strawberry, the word for it in the language, odemin, odemin. And odemin is grammatically inanimate. So I need to find what type of verb to say it tastes good, a VII, and it'll be the same thing. Me no po guad, minopogwad, minopogwad. But again, you might see minopgwad, minopgwad in your community. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Dutgogmin is animate. We need to pluralize it to say blackberries, right? We have to put the S on blackberries, if you will, in English. And that will be Dutgogmin ug, because it is animate, plural. So ug is what goes on the end of ends typically, not always, but most of the time. And then we can pluralize the verb. Now it's a VAI that ends in an I, which is a vowel. So this is a vowel ending VAI verb. So you go up to your little cheat code. Okay, so it's a VAI ending in a vowel, which means my plural will be wug. That's how you use this little code. Okay, that's how you use this little cheat sheet. That means I put wug at the end of this, and voila. Okay, there we have it. Come on. Dutgog minuk, minupka zawuk. Dutgog minuk, minupka zawuk. Dutgog minuk, minupka zawuk. And now down here for this one, same thing, ends in min. Okay, so if this one animate became minug, this one inanimate will become min un, minun. Okay, dutgog minug, ode minun. And now we want to pluralize the verb because we're out of whack right now. We have a plural noun, but then a singular verb. That's not good news, okay? So this is a VII and it ends in a D, which is a consonant. So then I'm going to go up to my little cheat code. Okay, it's a VII that I want to be plural, and it ends in a consonant. So if I follow the little path, own is the plural. Okay, so odeminan, menapquadon. And there it is. Okay, that is how you pluralize sentences like this. Okay, dutgog minug minapgozewug, odeminan, menapquadon. Odeminan, menapquadon. So there it is. Okay. Now we should do an example reverse where we get to see, a consonant ending VAI and a vowel ending um, VII, just so that you can see all of them come to life. Okay. So let's do another little set here. I'm not going to worry about trying to make a pair because then I have to try and come up with, a set that like, oh, the VAI has a consonant, but then the vowel. So I'll just pick random verbs and we'll make two sentences that just display that, okay? So I'll pick a verb like maybe something like this. If I want to say the old man is happy. And then the other sentence, or I guess I want to make it plural, the old men are happy, is what I want to say. And then for this one, I'll say something along these lines. How about the knife is sharp? Okay, so we'll make those two random little examples here. Oh, yeah, again, plural. Come on. The knives are sharp. Okay, so the old men are happy. So we start by finding the word for the old man, then we pluralize that. We can find our verb, pluralize that, and we're off to the races. Okay. So the old man is, what's the word? Akwenzi. 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 Now, of course, kwenzi is animate. So we need a VAI verb that means he or she is happy. And I'll use, because it does what I need it to do, I'll use min wan dum. Min wan dum. Akawazi min wan dum. The old man is happy. Singular. Okay. Now we're going to pluralize akawazi. It ends in an NH and is animate. So what plural does it get? We do our trick, right? We take our H, flip it upside down, it becomes a Y, A, G. Akawazi Akawaziyak. Akawaziyak. There's the old men. But again, now we're out of grammatical agreement. We have animate, which is good, but then we have plural singular, which is not good. So let's pluralize minwandum. So again, this is a VAI verb that ends in an M, which is a consonant. So we want VAI consonant ending. So let's go find it. Okay. So we want VAI with a consonant ending. It's going to give me og as the plural. So that's what I'm going to slap on the end of the verb, okay? Kwanziyuk min wandamok. Now that sounds real good, okay? Kwanziyuk min wandamok. Kwanziyuk min wandamok. Very good. Let's look at this one now. Okay, so we want to say the knives are sharp. We'll start singular. The word for knife is, maybe you know it, mokomon. Mokomon. So mokomon is the knife. And I want to say that it is sharp. Okay, we'll start singular, of course. So it is sharp. Mokomon is inanimate, so I want a VII, and that would be yina, yina, yina. Okay, Mokomon, yina. The knife is sharp. Got to make it plural though. So mo kumon is the inanimate noun. It ends in an N. You'd be very smart to guess un as the plural. Mo kumonan, mo kumonan, knives, knives. Now again, we're out of whack. Plural noun, singular verb. So let's fix that, okay? Now we have a VII. Gina is a VII, and it ends in a vowel. That means I'm going to go up and I'm going to find, okay, I need a VII that ends in a vowel, which gives me one as my plural ending. So then I come down here and I slap that on the end of that. And now we have Mokamanan Yinawan. Mokamanan Yinawan. Akawansiak Minwandamok. Akawansiak Minwandamok. Mokamanan Yinawan. Mokamanan Yinawan. So there it is. Okay. A nice little review of what we covered in class. Okay. The last thing I'll say is that if you want to play around and practice on your own, try making your own unique um, plural sentences. Okay. Find a noun, animate or inanimate, whatever. Know its animacy and find the corresponding verb for whatever you want to say. Like if I want to say the soups smell bad, that means I need to find the word for soup, which is nabo. I would then have to know its animacy, which is inanimate. So then I pick the VII verb out of the dictionary, make sure it's a VII, right? Double check, like never ever don't check. Don't assume ever, because you'll be surprised. What I would find is je, ma, what. And je, ma, what means it smells bad, and it's a VII. Then I make the whole thing plural. Nabob ends in a B or a P and is inanimate. B's and P's get I's after them, so it becomes nabobine, nabobine, the soups. Majamagwad is a VII that ends in a consonant, so I'd go up and check my little chart. VII plural, consonant ending gives me own. Nabobine, Majamagwadon. Nabobine, Majamagwadon. And then you can use the People's Dictionary and even hit the listen function on those words. And it even below has the listen function for even the plurals. So you can even hear it pluralized said, which is incredible. So you can even find that in the People's Dictionary. So you can see Nabobine said plural. It won't give you the verb, sorry, in plural. It doesn't give you the plural verbs vocally or anything, but it does give you the plural nouns. So you could hear Nabobine being said, which is awesome. But there it is. Okay, so you can do these, do a mixture of animates and inanimates, do a mixture of vowel and consonant endings so you don't get kind of too comfortable in one or the other. And that should give you lots to play around with this week. Okay, so yeah, thanks for tuning in if you do. And yeah, enjoy making plural sentences, animate, inanimate, vowel final, consonant final, all that fun stuff. Okay, no, English,